I'm Steve and welcome to my channel. Right, I've just started the driver's front door and this hasn't been dented in any way, so this is really how it was when it came out of the factory. And I put my rule on it and there's a massive high spot in the middle there. So someone did mention on the internet that they weren't perfect when they came out of the factory. Well, I've got a feeling this is not perfect. So where this crease is here, obviously it's going to be dead flat there because the action of actually creasing this on the press flattens it out, which it is. It's absolutely dead flat there and there, but also it's rocking there as well. There's no way I'm going to get that flat. So I don't know, was it like this out of the factory? I'm not going to put any heat on this because it caused so much trouble on the passenger front door, but I do need to weld these patches up, and I'll show you in a minute. There's some holes along this edge along here as well. So there's a series of little holes along here. Obviously that's where they all go, but there's also a dent there, but that's not a problem, soon fill that. And further along there's surface rust there. I don't think that's thin. I will try. That's not thin, it's not going through at all, so that can be filled. So it's just the holes this side. Now I'm gonna turn it over now. So this is the back side of what you've just seen, and as you can see, it's peppered all the way along there. So to do this properly, I really need to replace the metal from that point down right the way across to the door skin. So there needs to be a strip of metal bent up with this profile on there. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I could make up a wooden form or something like that to do that. But I still have to tuck it underneath the door skin because the door skin's alright. That's not coming off. And it's going to be a job to actually get this out of the door skin. I couldn't get all this in one photo, so the best way to do it is to make a video. So I modified these jaws, and these jaws are what I used when I made patches for the rear panel and inside the driver's side rear wheel arch. And I talk about how I did these. I did them at work, so if you haven't seen that, go back and you'll see what these are. So this step on these is too big for this step here. There's a step there, so I've ground that one back. I've actually left that one, and this morning I made a test piece. It's only 1 inch wide, and it's come out okay. So that goes on there. Well, that goes on there, and it follows this step here quite well. So in theory, if I can do it on this little test piece, I can do it on a bit that is much wider. Now I haven't got a bit long enough for the whole door because I think it's 27 inches. So I'm going to do half up to there and then do the other half. I'm going to do it in 2 halves. I won't cut this out. I'll cut this section out first, I think. And I'm not keeping these holes. I just recorded it just for if it helps anyone in the future. Just before I cut it out, I recorded the position of these holes for the the bottom rubber, the original rubber strip on the bottom, but I will be replacing these holes as well. So the reason I go to the bother of using this is firstly because I have it, but there's no distortion at all. You know, if I use tin snips, it's going to curl this up all and it's going to bend it. So that's why I like to use this. This is a number 2 centre drill, and this is roll coal, reamer, tap and drill cutting fluid, and this is as old as the hills. This is. This is a 4.2mm drill. Never drill dry. Now I can't see if it's like that or like that, but I'm not too worried because it's only a stop. And this is a 5mm tap. So what I will do is I'm going to grind that point off. It doesn't serve any purpose, and that will enable me to get a bit deeper thread. Reason I've had to grind at the end of this is because I haven't got a plug tap. This is a this is a second tap. So now I'm going to make a tag to screw on, to go onto there, that will stick out, so then I can put the metal down to the stop and it should bend it in the correct position. That's the theory. So this morning I've just ground this step back, so it's the same as this side, so they're both matching now, and it's the correct step to form this. Now I formed this step with these in the vise, and then I put this in the vise and bent it over to the correct dimension from there to there. But unfortunately, what I want to do is squash it and then bend it over while it's still in there, but I can't do that because this is a little bit too short. It's about just under 1/8 of an inch gap under there. So now I'm going to find a bit of metal and weld a plate on here. So that went okay. I found a bit of 2mm steel, which was just the right thickness to allow me to bend it over. This is the sample that I'm trying to create, and that it's not actually 90 degrees. It's like 80 degrees or something. I may have to put a bit more radius along this edge, but at the moment it's looking okay, and the depth is okay. So I should be able to put the steel in there, and then just move the steel along a little bit each time until I've got the length that I want. So I'm just going to leave it standing there like that, and the same with that one, like that. Well, I've got to show you this. All I've done is got a bit of blue tack on the back between the vise and this, and I squashed it with the vise, and that is really solid. I was so surprised. Blue tack is good. Well, there's been a change of plan. I originally thought the door was made from 19 gauge, which is a bit odd anyway, but I've measured it with a mic more accurately now, and it is actually 20 gauge. So I've just cut a bit of 20 gauge out, and which is the same as this. So it's the same thickness as this, so I should be able to reproduce this on the new patch that I've just made. That's not bad. Try this end. Right, so now I'm going to bend it over. Yeah, I've bent this over a bit too far because there's a gap there. When I put this level, there's a gap here. So I'm just going to bend this back a bit. Yeah, that's better. This is still going to be tweaked, you know, once I cut it out and try to fit it. So what I might do as well is radius these corners, because I reckon when you're welding up to a corner it can cause lots of heat distortion. So I'll have quite a big radius on there, 3/8 radius or something. So I'm very pleased how these two patches have come out, and there's minimum gap and they line up very well at the join. But what I'm going to do is cut this out first before I touch this side, and then tack this one in. I've also got some rust on the outside skin here and around here as well, but that'll be another patch. I've trimmed it so that level, so it's level with the outside. So hopefully when I actually put it in, it's got to go one thickness of the material, and that will be enough. But I can always trim this much more, because it doesn't matter if it's in a little bit. I might have to do that in the end, I don't know yet. So my next task is to cut out the drain holes. So in the next video you'll see me cutting all the rust out and welding these two patches on. So thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.